Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This is the Waypoint. My name is Chris, a.k.a. RumblePack92, and I'm going to be your host today. We got a great episode. I'm very, very excited to dive into it. Fantastic panel with me, as always. To my right, some other Josh.
Hello. Super uplifting episode. Really left me just, feeling all sorts of emotions, but most of them positive. And I'm super happy to talk to you about them because it's just such a happy time this week.
I feel sarcastic. There's something, I can't put my finger on it. Something feels off. Directly above me, Albob875.
Hello. I knew it wouldn't be good when it was called The Tragedy.
Right?
I was my wife was out of town all this week, so I was actually on Friday. I was actually like awake at like 4 a.m. for whatever reason, and I saw people posting. It's like, the episode of Mandalorian was amazing, and I was like, oh shit, that just came out, and I went and watched it like right then, and then I watched it again the next day when Brittany came back, and she'd got like a notification on her phone, went to go check it real fast, and then looked back up like after the title screen had already passed, and so I was like, did you see the name of the episode? She goes, no, what? And I was like, it's called The Tragedy, and she just kind of looks over at me, and I was sitting here like this, because I know what was going to happen, and she's like, Christopher, what happens? I was like, we gotta watch it. Of course, in the far right, Mr. Jordan Deeb.
What's up? What's up? I think this is the most competent we've ever seen stormtroopers.
Actually, though, yeah, you make a good point. It's like this and the beginning of The Force Awakens.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, it gave me really similar vibes because the troop carriers that came on look very similar. And then like, they come running out and stuff, and then you got the one dude that's overacting, like, go, go, go.
Right.
And then, of course, our recurring guest host, friend of the show, Jim Tasty.
I am just a simple, bona fide Mandalorian trying to make my way through the universe.
Like your father before you. Awesome, guys. I am so excited to talk about this episode, and I feel like we got to kick it off with as the host, I'm going to kick it off with the thing that I'm the most excited about, right? Oh my god, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Boba Fett.
1,000%. 1,000%.
So I texted like everybody that I could think of after that ended, and I was like, I've waited my entire life to see Boba Fett kick ass on screen like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he
You
really
were texting
did.
me as you were watching.
I was giving Josh live updates as I was going through it.
He's like, oh,
I was like screaming. I was screaming in my apartment at 4:30 in the morning. I was like, "Oh my god!" He takes that gaffy stick and he's like scraping it across the ground as he walks up to the dude. I was just like, this is just straight horror movie vibes. I love it.
That was sick.
He was.
He did not hold back.
Yeah, that might be like one of the most just aggressive fight scenes I've ever seen in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
1,000%.
Like smash stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah.
And they
Oh,
showed
dude.
them to you. They just
That
showed
one
you like
helmet
the
was
broken
like
parts.
caved in and all like
Dude.
Yeah.
jacked up, dude.
And so
I personally thought that they were gonna show a stormtrooper's face and it was gonna be Boba Fett because they're all just clones of Boba Fett and Jango Fett.
You want to get into the lore?
That
Because
could-
not really.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, it wasn't just the retcon. Like even in the old expanded universe, like after the Empire rose, the clones got phased out.
Mhm.
The idea was that when the Empire came, is like they were big enough to where they didn't need that sort of like whole thing. And then the rapid aging was a problem as well. And so after the Empire rose, they started bringing recruits and then hiring people and just kind of phased out the clones. And
Got it.
I believe that stuck in the Disney canon, although I think the
Yes.
new canon now, the clones actually age a little faster, so that it's like almost immediately like there's like no clones outside of the 501st for a while.
Noted. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. All good.
Dude,
And I
this
mean,
was 40 years in the making, man. Like,
I know, dude.
Right?
I know,
like
dude.
badass Boba Fett, like on screen, because I would always joke with friends of like
Does it do anything?
in the original trilogy, like you have to like kind of look into it to like pull stuff out. Like in Empire Strikes Back, he like kind of looks at Luke when he's guarding Han Solo, and then Episode 6, he does a little nod and stuff. So like, there's all that. Yeah. So like, this is like the first time we've legitimately gotten to see Boba Fett like kick butt.
Don't
which is,
forget
like,
about
insane.
Don't forget about the scene where he walks in front of everything in A New Hope and spikes the camera, and then it cuts. and that fucking special edition scene.
He is in. I forgot about that. I've been McClunkied out of my mind.
Yeah, this special edition scene where we see Jabba repeat all of the information that we were given like 2 scenes ago.
Yeah, dude.
To the point where some of the dialogue is even the same. You can tell that he worked that into a later scene and then decided to add that back in post-release anyway. And he doesn't. It was the Boba Fett thing where it's like he's on screen and he's cool.
Yeah,
right.
Like he looks cool.
So, did this sway you to now put Boba over Jango Fett in terms of your Mandalorian rankings? Because you're just dying on this hill that Jango Fett's the superior Mandalorian.
I always like the sleeker look of Jango Fett. So
I've never liked Jango Fett.
So for me,
he was a bitch too.
For me, I just love the cleaner look of Jango. I love the blue a little bit better. And I just love that fight where he actually goes toe-to-toe with Obi-Wan. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, but no, this whole episode I think was anyone who watched Empire and Return of the Jedi as a kid, they were like, we're going to give you every question and every want you had with Boba Fett. We're going to make him kick ass. We're going to make him use the thing that he's never taken down before. We're going to show you how it works. And also his jetpack isn't a jetpack. It's a fucking missile.
I loved how he quote unquote missed his shot because you saw the target go on the left transport ship and it hits the right one and then it hits the left.
Which I love that they call that out too. And he's like, "That was a good shot." And he goes, "I was aiming for the other one." Clearly. Very, very cool. I like that. Also, they pulled like an old expanded universe thing and they put the blasters on one of his knees too.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That was
really cool.
That.
Yeah.
Funny scene of him using it.
Yeah.
And then the stormtroopers run away because they're like, "Fuck, this dude has missiles on his
my god!"
knees."
And then he just goes.
But man, I just noticed when he was coming out with his armor, it's like, man, Boba got buff because he was pretty skinny.
Boba got
trilogy.
thick.
Yeah. He's a thick boy for sure, man. He got that dad bod.
Which also is like, bro, what are you eating in the desert?
It's hard,
right?
To do a CrossFit routine, when you're in a Sarlacc pit for who knows.
Everybody gets old at some point.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, it doesn't help. He's probably wearing 7 layers of clothing.
Yeah, I mean, he put the armor. Yeah, he put the armor over the top of it, and it was like that's extra padding, But I really like though, the look of the long robes with the armor over the top of it. Like that's dope, and I need a figure of it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You texted me that.
I did text you that too.
I sent you a custom on Instagram. I was like, man, this custom looks goddamn.
Come on, Funko Pop.
Chef's kiss.
I'll take a Funko at this point. Give me Fat Boba. Well, I texted that too. I was like, I need this figure of Boba Fett, and Josh was like,
yeah,
what, like Boba Fett, or do you need Fat Boba? I was like, I want Fat Boba. I was like, he was kick ass. He's way cooler than Skinny Boba.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Not wrong.
Yeah, even just the scene where he looks over in the Razor Crest and the doors open, the next time you're seeing him on screen, it's just gonna be amazing.
And I like this thing that they're doing with making Boba Fett very honorable, where he literally just went in to steal the armor. He told Mando, he was like, "Listen, I told you to keep the child safe. He's not. I'm indebted to you till then." And this is one of the few expanded universe things I know, because I never read this book that this came from, but I've read about it, where there's this expanded universe book where Jabba basically puts Boba in Leia's cell, and the implication is he's going to let Boba have his way with her, and he doesn't. He just sleeps on the floor. He's just like, this isn't my type of thing to do. Like, I'm not that much of a... He goes, I'm really in this because I'm kind of a... I work for myself because I need to survive, but I'm not actually a horrible person.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what...
just a simple man making his way through the universe.
Yeah, it's kind of like what
1,000%.
Benicio Del Toro's character was saying a lot in The Last Jedi of like, listen, it's a dog-eat-dog world, but I'm not going to become a scumbag and force myself onto you.
I'll just look out for myself. Yeah.
It makes me think of two things. One, he's definitely more honorable now than when we saw him in episode 6. And then he's also seemingly anti-Empire now, and he was pretty buddy-buddy with them beforehand.
Right.
So there's obviously some sort of change of character, in the last 5, 6 or so years.
I think he's still probably. I mean, I think he honors a deal, and that's kind of it. I'm sure the Empire was offering good money, and so he took the deal, and so he was going to follow that through. Like, I mean, that's just how he is.
Yeah, and he needed to also follow up his end with Jabba. So I think it's more like he doesn't, he probably was anti-Empire, but understood that he couldn't take him down alone. And if he needed to work with them, he'd work with them.
And it makes me think too of the original concept of Boba. His name wasn't actually Boba; it was Jaster Muriel, and that concept of the character was like kind of what you just described, Jordan. It was like super honorable, kind of like a martial type figure. So maybe they're kind of more incorporating that initial vision into
Interpretation.
Now, see, I don't know
version
that I
of
would
Boba.
necessarily still like come out and say he's like, yeah, Boba Fett's a good guy now. Like I
No.
do think the dude just he takes a
almost-
deal
he
and he
was-
follows it, and
He's
he's
gonna
like,
kill.
I'm committed to
He was
this.
gonna kill Grogu. Yeah, he was like. 5
Oh yeah,
minutes
dude
before
is
that,
about
he
to
was
shoot the child.
Yeah.
In the face.
Mhm.
Or at least Ming-Na Wen was, whose name Fennec. That was her name.
Yeah, Fennec
Yeah.
Shand.
Yeah.
Milan.
Yeah, Mulan.
Now,
I had to look it up. I was like, I know that voice.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
I was just gonna say again, they killed it with the cold open. It's like it wasn't action packed, but man, that was such a good moment with
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Mando and the child.
We got to
Thanks,
hear.
Fennec.
We got to hear
Thanks, yeah.
Din actually like laugh a little bit. Like I don't think I've
Mhm.
heard him
Mhm.
laugh until this episode. So it was
He's
like
a big
Right.
old softy.
Exactly.
it was that classic. It sounded just like Boba and Django a little bit with that like
Mhm.
kind of like
Right.
short laugh,
Mhm.
which is awesome.
I also
Mhm.
I really like that joke though too. He's like, all right, can't land here. He's like, gonna have to go the rest of the way. The window's down, and then it cuts to him like with like holding him in the jetpack. I was like, that's great. I
The
really like
ears
that.
just flapping in the wind. Yeah.
Yeah, I just liked that moment a lot. I mean, you could kind of hear like the sadness in his voice too, to where he's like, look, if the Jedi want you to go with them, you'd better fucking go with them. where
Right.
he's like, you got to do it. He's like, I can't train you.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like you can tell he's like he's got this mission. He's gonna do it, but he likes that kid.
Yeah, he's catching
Mhm.
feels for sure. Like he pulls back right after, like in the opening crawl or in the cold open. He's like straight up right off the bat is like, "Oops, like sorry, you gotta go."
He's
Yeah.
literally playing with the kid, which he's never done
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I liked him like saying his name like Grogu over and over again. He's like, oh wow, that's really his name. He's reacting every time I say it.
Right.
It's just a nice moment. We've had a lot of those moments throughout this season with
Mhm.
with Din and Grogu, and I really like that. My mind, of course, immediately goes back to the bit where he's trying to get Grogu to rewire that, and I think it was episode
Right.
3,
Mhm.
or 11 or whatever this said. I suppose I should take us back to the beginning. Of course, this is the Waypoint, where each and every week the 5 of us sit down and discuss the new episodes of season 2 of The Mandalorian as they come out. This week we are talking about chapter 13, I believe, the tragedy.
Chapter 14.
14,
The
fuck me.
gospel leg is the wise.
Yeah.
One.
Now that we're like
of
10 minutes
my-
into it.
right. Right. I was gonna say one of my favorite aspects is the bailout of the thumbnail. Like I didn't really think of anything about this episode when I was logging into Disney Plus, and then I was like, oh, Cara Dune's there, like just another
That was
side
my
quest
thought too.
mission. And then you get into the cold open, and you're like, all right, this is what we've come to notice from the season is just fun cold opens with the child, and then it just boom, the tragedy, and it's like immediately
Yeah.
heart sinks. You're like, fuck,
So
exactly.
along with that thought of the thumbnail, I'm like, okay, some shit's gonna go down this episode if Cara Dune's
Mhm.
back on the thumbnail.
Right.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
See,
didn't
it's-
even they don't put the name of it on there. It's just chapter 14.
Right.
I
For
think
for
they
me though, I saw
made it
that
fit.
thumbnail, and I mean it was clearly like her like sitting at the desk that we saw previously, and I was just like, going back to Navarro again. I was like, what happened to Tython? I was like,
Mhm.
I was
Losing one
about
on
to be
Alderaan.
I was about to be so fucking upset that they teased Tython, and then we weren't gonna get it until next episode, and thankfully we didn't.
Yeah, we went straight to it, which was one of my favorite things about this episode is just picking up right where we left off.
Went right
Yeah.
into it. I
Yeah.
appreciated that.
Mhm.
I liked that. I liked and didn't like that we saw just kind of like the one location on Tython, still kind of keeping it a mystery, that sort of thing. It definitely looks very old.
Right.
And I think that's partially just on me because I was still thinking about like Tython, like as it appears in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, where it's very like heavily prequel inspired. You got these gigantic temples with huge statues and all that kinds of stuff. And I really like that because it's the in the old expanded universe. Now, of course, that's been changed to whatever the name of the planet that Luke was on in Last Jedi. But in the old expanded universe, Tython. Yeah, thank you, Octo. In the old expanded universe, Tython was the birthplace of the Jedi, and I think it's still very clearly like a very ancient Jedi place, and something that the new canon has been doing that I really liked is that they're a lot less. Everything just kind of looks older and simpler when they start talking about like the OG Jedi, and I like that they kept that vibe there. It was very just like this big rock, big stones. It was very natural.
Right.
Like I think that vibes really well. And then of course you get into the scene. He puts the child on the stone, and they send up like a lighthouse. Like it shoots up, and something that I think I've talked over a little, like at least touched on with a couple of you guys is that I mean, Ahsoka mentions like, hey, you put this out on there. He's essentially sending like a call out.
Right.
And somebody, whether a Jedi or somebody affluent in the Force, is going to feel it. And so that of course leads us to the question of who could answer this call.
I feel like it's got to be Ezra.
That's my thought too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one that makes the most sense.
It's a natural just conclusion of that kind of thought process where we've gotten Ahsoka, we've gotten a Grand Admiral Thrawn mentioned, and now would naturally be the time to show Ezra.
Right.
Maybe this call, helps him escape from wherever he's at.
Yeah. Spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen Rebels, but I mean, Ezra lives through it, so.
Right.
And he's
still part of. Does he still consider himself a Jedi? Because I know Ahsoka didn't.
Yes.
Okay.
He's still very much a Jedi.
Oh.
Ezra. So some slight spoilers, I guess. Like nothing crazy, but it's sort of like towards the end, it's like he kind of fucks off somewhere, and nobody really knows where he is, and so that's still kind of the question of is like, well, what happened to Thrawn and Ezra, and that was part of why people had such a strong reaction to Thrawn's name being mentioned, because it's like, oh shit,
they're bringing him back.
Yeah, it's like we got to know. Nobody knows where he's at, and so it's kind of a similar thing with Ezra, and yeah, I mean he's off in Deep Space Nine somewhere, and I feel like it logically it makes the most sense because there aren't like a ton of other candidates.
Right. Well, I feel like if we were to pull in Cal Kestis, that would just kind of lower the stakes of Jedi Fallen Order too.
Yeah.
You're immediately like, all right, well, we've already seen him in the Mandalorian. We know he lives through this.
He'd also be very old.
Yeah, that too. You'd have to put makeup all over
because he's not
Monahan or whatever his name is.
Cameron Monahan, yeah. But and I mean he's not. I mean he's a human too, so he's not going to age as slowly as Ahsoka does.
Right.
And so it would be very much old man Cal because this is like 30 years past when Fallen Order takes place.
Right.
Yeah. So in his 50s, I guess he'd be all right, but.
Yeah, and then I've heard the talks that they're now just reportedly talking to Sebastian Stan about playing Luke and trying to get.
I don't want that.
Hamill's blessing.
I don't want it. Don't make Luke a character in the show.
I take that over these Star Wars fans just praying for Mace Windu. We're
damn
back.
I hate that so much.
Old ass Samuel Jackson with the robotic arm and
Samuel
waddling around. I don't know why he Muppet walks that.
They bring back Mace Windu.
They bring back Mace Windu. I quit.
I don't.
Can you imagine?
Exactly.
Because then we're gonna need an episode explaining how the fuck he lived and where the fuck he's
been.
We're
gonna need 12 books explaining how he lived.
I'm gonna start getting into Star Trek or.
If it's Mace Windu, I'm done with Star Wars, man. I'm done with it if it's fucking Mace Windu.
But that's what all the kids are talking about. They want.
I'm gonna go catch up on my Halo expanded universe if it's fucking Mace Windu.
Yeah, I'll read all 400 Halo books.
Is Dead Space still a thing? I might get into that.
Man.
I'm just taking everything off my walls. I'm throwing all my shit away.
My action
honestly,
figures I'm tossing.
It's like that gif of Ron Swanson just chucking the dumpster or the computer into the dumpster.
no kidding.
God,
Honestly,
that,
though,
I hate
I'd
that there's
rather-
people asking for that because that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yes.
It
Yes.
can't be real. But honestly, I think I would rather have a new Jedi, a new character over Luke. Like I would,
Mhm.
Over
I
Luke
think
at this point.
Yeah.
I think I want Ezra most of all, just because I like his character a lot. We need to
Mhm.
follow up with his character.
Get Rahul Kohli to play him.
Do you
1,000%.
think we get a Luke name drop? Like, do you think if Luke is just starting to start his Jedi Academy
what?
or what you call it, someone's like, I'm here representing Skywalker who helped take down the Empire. He's looking for Jedi to train.
If somebody name drops Luke, I think that I'm fine with that. That's
Mhm.
cool. Because we know he's alive. We know he's out there doing stuff. I believe at this point in
Right.
time, he'd still be out kind of looking for like Sith and Jedi relics.
Mhm.
And just kind of researching stuff. But yeah, if like somebody is like, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker out doing this, or I saw Luke doing this thing, that, I'd be like, okay, fine. I don't want one. I just don't want Luke recast. Yeah, I know Sebastian Stan looks like him, but I mean, it's like I don't need him to be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole different take on the character.
And so far, it's like outside of Ahsoka, they just haven't really touched all of, like, sort of like the main series Star Wars all that much, and I kind of want it to stay that way.
Mhm. I get that too.
I like that this is still like it's kind of like a step removed from the movies.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I guess Boba Fett's here now, but I mean,
He was never a main.
it doesn't do
component.
anything.
literally, I saw this tweet this afternoon. It was like he has like 6 minutes of screen time in like the original trilogy, so he's like barely in it. I was like, dang, I'm like, that's like a heat check, man, because
Yeah.
everyone loves him, and he's only in the 3 movies.
Because he looks cool. Well, he's got like a 2-minute short in the Christmas special. Thank you.
The original one.
Yeah.
I've
And
never
very
watched
good as
that.
well.
Oh God.
never
Like
watched
yellow
the
and
original.
blue.
Oh God,
Season
it's
finale.
awful.
Season
I've
finale,
actually-
this is the Waypoint.
It
Watch the
is it.
Christmas special.
It's the
Is it
Christmas
on Disney
special.
Plus?
No,
No.
They've
No.
tried to bury it, but it's on the internet.
because George Lucas doesn't
Yeah.
like refuses to acknowledge this.
Oh, the actual Christmas special. I thought we were talking about like the one that just released.
No, the original
No.
one.
We'll
The
review
original
them
Christmas
both.
special. Yeah.
That's
But that was the debut of Boba Fett, was in the fucking Christmas special.
Yeah.
That one, I don't think he okayed, and then two, Lucas also just tries to forget ever happened.
Right.
I think everybody does.
And whoo boy, it's bad. And they've brought back parts of it. The rifle that he has in the Christmas special is the one that Mando has. Everybody kind of forgets that,
Basically.
but it's like that
Had.
that gun that he's
Had.
had. Yeah. Oh shit! That probably got destroyed too, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't
gone,
think
baby.
about that. So I guess this is the next thing to talk about.
It
First
is
off,
not in Fortnite.
So I have Disney. I have demands. Put us in the credits for however, like, even if it's just next week's episode, you can edit it. I know you can, but put us in the credits because we, of course, were the first ones here on the internet to say, I believe, that the Razor Crest was going to die this season.
We were.
We called it.
Because I've watched other like Mando stuff content, and I have
Wow.
not seen a lot of like, hey, it's gone.
Mhm.
They want to sell those new toys.
I know.
I mean, really,
I wasn't expecting it this soon, but yeah.
I know.
I was
There's
literally
only 2
just
episodes left.
getting the Lego set. I was
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
that Razor Crest Lego set is calling my name, and then I was just watching this episode, and it exploded, and it hurt. It hurt.
And
You don't have to build it and it'd be accurate.
What's so funny is that they were just like
we just sell the spear.
like you just open the pack out,
Mhm.
and then it's like there, the Razor Crest, as seen
Done.
in episode 14, the tragedy.
The spear piece.
What's so? Oh yeah, one spear. Put it in the very bottom, and then the ball, which miraculously.
Of course. Yeah.
Must be Beskar.
He's got one
Just
bit of
to hit you in
Beskar on
the
it.
feels. It's just one last kick in the gut for this episode.
And immediately I saw the ball and I was like, "How?" And then I was like, "I don't care. That hurts."
Exactly,
I was
exactly.
like, "Whatever." What was so funny about that was, I mean, this episode comes out like 2 days after they put Mandalorian in Fortnite. and they're like, hey, the Razor Crest is on the map in Fortnite, and you can get a Razor Crest glider in the game. Razor Crest not around anymore. Gone, immediately gone.
They couldn't spoil it.
Yeah.
It's a spoiler. Here's the spoiler: is that you can destroy the Razor Crest in Fortnite. You can go in and you can break it.
Never thought of that.
You can mine it.
I wonder what his new ships, what kind of new ship
Gotta
he's
be a
gonna get, man.
slave. Like he saw.
Yeah,
I
he's
really
gonna
wanted
get
to be
Slave One?
slave.
You think he's gonna take Slave One off of Boba's
I don't think he's gonna
hands?
take slave. I don't think Boba would allow him to
What
take
if
slave one.
Boba dies though?
Boba either has
Too
to
upset.
die or like
I don't want Boba
some-
Fett to die
there has to be
again.
some sort of like ceremony or something where it makes sense for him to give it up. But like,
If they brought Boba Fett back just to kill him 2 episodes later, I'm gonna be so
at least,
mad.
At least he's not gonna go out like a punk this time. So
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
He's
we
gonna
don't know
go
that.
out
We
They're like-
don't know
They're
that.
They're like, hey,
Moff
Boba Fett's
Gideon.
back. He did one cool thing. Anyway, he's dead now again.
Had a
Moff
cool fight
Gideon,
scene.
Moff Gideon accidentally, bumps his butt into like some other like.
Breaks his jetpack again. They just wee.
What if it's just like a recurring bit in like all future Star Wars? You just like the Team Rocket, like Boba Fett's blasting off again.
It's like Kenny from South Park.
Oh my God! You
Let
killed
go,
Boba Fett.
Oh god.
Oh no! I will be upset though if they do actually decide to kill Boba after like 30
All
years
this.
of wondering whether he was still alive or not.
Especially if there's that rumored show too, right? Like,
Yeah, he's supposed to get his own show.
if they kill him off in this season and then they're like, all right, there's like a Boba prequel show. It's like, okay, like
4 episodes long.
Right.
he's like chilling in the dunes for 5 years watching Cobb Vanth like stunting on him with his armor. Like,
Also, I really like the idea that it's like by the time you get to Boba like seeing Din like driving away with his armor, that that he spent the last 5 years like just kind of like chasing Cobb Vanth around and always being like a second too late to get the armor back.
so yeah, so he knew who Cobb Vanth was,
Mhm.
and then also, so yeah, going all back to season 1, that is confirmed to be Boba now because of rescuing Fennec.
Right.
So
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, which I also want to. I'm just throwing this out there for mine. I did call that was Boba Fett like back in the day. I know we weren't all discussing it, but I saw that and I was like, it's got to be Boba Fett. It's Tatooine. He's got the spurs sound effect. Like the only person that we ever hear with that spurs sound effect is Boba Fett.
Right.
Yeah. I was kind of, although they kind of do the same sound effect with Cad Bane, and I was kind of hoping it might have been Cad Bane.
Isn't he dead?
No,
He's not.
He's not dead. He's not dead in the Clone Wars.
Oh.
Because some of the cut content was like a young Boba versus Cad Bane, like in a
Right,
later
I remember
season
that.
Yeah.
So I don't think we know what like his fate is.
I would love to see.
Okay.
I feel like Cad Bane would be perfect to put in the Mandalorian in that case.
I know,
All
man.
right.
That feels like a perfect character for this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Disney credit us right now for coming up with this idea.
Disney put us in the credits.
Disney just let's write season
I
3.
also want to check.
Just
It's
let
all
us
gonna be
write
Kyle
season
Katarn.
3.
Season 3.
Yeah. And so wasn't that what you guys before we started recording? You guys were talking about that as another Jedi.
Oh,
Oh.
I was kind of being a little silly, but
Oh.
you know,
No, I say I'm super down to have Kyle Katarn answer the call. To where I mean, this is something we touched on last week when we were talking about Thrawn. To where like he was originally a post trilogy character that post the Disney purchase, they retooled him to fit into the original trilogy era. And so now they can kind of go the other direction with it. Be like, hey, Kyle Katarn was the guy that stole the Death Star plans. Well, obviously we know that was not the case anymore because due to Rogue One, it was
Rogue One.
Jyn Erso. You shut your damn mouth. Rogue One is a gem of a movie. And
well, so because with my I initially didn't want. I was like, how are they gonna put Kyle Katarn in the new canon? But now that there's other Jedi besides Luke still around, I'm like, okay, one more is not gonna hurt. And then his origin story is him actually kind of like learning to use the Force like on his own in a certain way. Like if you play Dark Forces 2, he kind of just like picks himself up and kind of handles his business just without any training really, which is super dope. But yeah,
and it's my understanding he was a former stormtrooper too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
To kind of get that you can see shades of that that they brought back for like Finn later on.
Yeah.
And I just never saw through with it.
I don't want to talk about that. I'm still upset. Still mad. But I do think that Kyle Katarn actually I think would be a good fit for it. Even in the old expanded universe at this point, I mean, he was kind of like he was out journeying with Luke. He gets to know him. He helps with his new Jedi Academy and stuff. And I mean, it's like I wouldn't be the most upset in the world if we found out that like Kylo Ren killed Kyle Katarn.
Oh no!
Like he dies in the.
How do we feel about it being a Force Ghost? So they bring back an older Jedi that we've probably seen on the big screen,
That'd be
but
interesting.
Force Ghost.
I'd
Maybe that's how they
be
do Mace
okay
Windu.
with it.
God damn it!
Ugh,
Oh,
no,
no.
I'd only be okay with
No.
it if it was Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn will get the only pass from me for first.
Not even Obi-Wan.
No, he has his own show. He has his
Yeah.
own show.
He is getting
Well,
exactly.
Because in the canon, I can't remember how it unfolds initially, but like because Qui-Gon's training was incomplete with the wills,
He
like
can't be a full ghost.
Oh, yeah.
You can only hear his
Well, no.
voice.
over time I think he is. I can't remember
okay.
what
I
book
thought
or
he was. I thought Qui-Gon was who kind of discovered Force
Mhm.
ghosting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And he teaches it
That's
to
Okay.
Yoda, who like fully realizes it.
Yeah.
To whereas it's initially he couldn't be like seen as a ghost. He could only kind of contact people.
Well,
Mhm.
because in current canon, he I think I can't. It's in one of the newer books where the way his training is actually progressive. So like initially, I think in the Clone Wars, he's like the little like lights kind of on Dagobah, but I can't remember which book. He's like a fully Force ghost. So
Oh,
like
interesting.
over time,
Oh.
he's like still been able to like fully manifest his consciousness.
That's
in
cool.
the living Force.
I'm down with that. Qui-Gon's cool.
Hmm.
He's definitely not the worst part of Phantom Menace.
Nope.
But as far as like potential, like Jedi that could possibly hear, I feel like Ezra feels like a pretty solid bet. Just logically, it makes a lot of sense. I think it would be interesting to see Cal Kestis, just because I mean we've already got an established actor that plays him
Yeah.
in the games, but it would kind of take some of the wind out of the sails of the Fallen Order sequel that's already been announced to be coming out. And it's like, oh, cool, so he lives.
Right.
I'll still probably play it and enjoy it if it is Cal Kestis. Like, it's not going to bother me, but
Does anybody truly think they'll kill off the main character of Fallen Order? In Fallen Order?
potentially. Jordan, I
Okay,
think we
cool.
might be having some issues, doggy dog. You're coming in,
Well,
you're frozen on my screen, and you're coming in real robotic sounding.
Yeah.
not my bad. I'm trying to be closer to the mic.
No
If that
worries.
helps at all.
No worries.
Yeah. So he was saying kill if Cal gets killed off in Fallen Order.
Yeah, I believe he asked is like, do you think they're gonna kill off the main character of Fallen
Yeah.
Order in Fallen Order?
I think if they do that, he has to do some sort of like heroic sacrifice where he
Mhm.
influences like the Jedi Order after he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
'Cause I think the
know what
inherent
they're gonna do
issue-
with Cal.
I think the inherent issue with any time you're telling a Jedi that he's after episode 3, you have to go, well, why wasn't that Jedi in the original trilogy, or at least in the sequel trilogy?
Uh
No, you're still a robot.
huh. I got about every other word of that.
Oh, my bad.
Have you tried disconnecting and reconnecting?
I tried turning my camera on and off. I'm gonna increase. Is it literally the internet, or is it
Alright,
like
here
my-
we're gonna cut for just a second, and I'll
Yeah.
have some fun with that. But yeah, I would try reconnecting or disconnecting and reconnecting real fast.
Alright, my bad. I also am
no,
stuttering when I
you're good.
speak right now, though.
Am I coming in clear?
Yeah,
guys?
I've
Yes.
got everybody
Good
coming
food.
clear except for Jordan.
Yep.
1,000%.
Because I was like, is that my internet? Like I just can't like get speed. I'm like, oh gosh.
And I couldn't. I was like trying to read your guys' faces too. I was like, is it just me? I was like, I don't know if everyone is like as I called it out. I was like trying to look through you guys to make sure that it wasn't just me. And I'm I'm halting the episode for no reason.
Yeah, I was just like, what's a penguin from Madagascar? I was just, smiling and waving in case it picked up, in like 2 seconds.
Right.
So
Right.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Just smile and wave.
So I was thinking, because that's one thing now, since we're starting to do social videos, thinking gotta
Trying to find like
The
or
clippable.
just
Yeah.
keeping in mind ideas. So like that whole
Little
Mace
nuggets.
Windu thing, I think.
Right.
the Mace Windu thing. I think is just
Mace Windu.
throwing away
was
Star Wars if Mace Windu comes back.
Yeah.
I was
think
thinking
I
of
think
going
that's
back
it.
for like the Game Awards one. I just ripped a fat bowl and played Last of Us Part 2, and that's why it deserves accessibility award.
How am I looking now?
I got caught in the menus.
Oh,
You're
that's
looking
what
at-
10
yeah.
times better.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say, like, my family just got 1 gig internet the other day. I better be getting fucking good connection.
10 times
They don't-
better. All right, I'm
They
bringing
don't
it
want to
back.
hear our
It's probably just a Discord thing.
Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah, Disney
yeah.
sucks. All right, bringing it
Disney's
back.
Disney's trying to cut us out because we're talking about Kyle Katarn, man.
Disney's trying to cut us out because we unveiled their plans for Mace Windu.
Cad
Into the
Bane.
Matrix.
No, Cad Bane. God damn it. That was the one. That was the one that said.
If you see a red dot like appear on me, it's we figured it out. We've guessed it, and
No,
they
it's
can't
actually
let
3 red
anyone
dots,
live.
like in the shape of Mickey Mouse.
Oh my god!
Widowmaker
Okay,
from Overwatch.
it's like you see the 3
Yeah.
dots, and then the camera pans out, and the barrel of it is also just like the Mickey Mouse head.
Oh,
gigantic,
Oh boy!
main bullet.
goodbye.
Fucking spoilers.
Oh, oh boy! Okay. That's the only bit, like the only Mickey Mouse impression I can do is just that.
Before
That one
before we
phrase.
jump back in,
Oh,
what were we
boy.
talking about actively? Just so I can like get.
Fallen
my
Order.
mindset.
Kyle or
Cal-
Cal
Cal
gets killed
Kestis
off.
being okay.
Cal
he would be
Katarn
killed
killing
off.
Cal Kestis to be killed off. Whatever. Alright, bringing it back. Hup. And we're back. Sorry.
But
about
yeah, I think
Yeah.
the inherent issue you run into when you have a story that involves a Jedi character between that basically takes place anytime after Episode 3 is you have to go, well, then where were you during the original trilogy, or at the very least, where were you during the sequel trilogy?
that.
Because you could always say,
There's-
oh, well, they were hiding during the original trilogy because they were hunting them down, and if they managed to survive past it, maybe they did meet Luke, and then what, Kylo killed them. So there's always that.
Well, I mean,
thing.
in the case of Cal, I mean, by the time you get to the sequel trilogy, I know that I joke that it's like, well, in Mandalorian, he's going to be old man Cal. In the sequels, he would absolutely be old man Cal, because like he'd be hella old by the time you get to the sequels. Because I
Well,
mean, you know, he
see-
was part of the. I mean, he's in his 20s, I think, by the time you get to Fallen Order,
Okay.
maybe late teens. But I mean, you know, dude was a Jedi during the prequels,
Yeah, he was a-
so
At least a Padawan.
he was a
Yeah,
Padawan.
Very learned
He was a
Padawan.
Padawan in the flashback, so like 10 to 13 or something.
Yeah,
You
so
assume he was. You assume maybe he was slightly younger than Anakin.
he's definitely younger than Anakin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
he
like
was-
by a handful of years, like what, 5, 6 at the most.
Like five or
So-
6 years younger than Anakin, like during
I'd
Order
say maybe
66. How old is
Yeah, so
Anakin
then-
in Revenge of the Sith?
He's like 24,
25.
25.
Oh yeah, I mean he's like
Yeah.
13 or 14 in
Yeah.
like
Which means he's
during
like
the time
nine-
of Order 66. So
So
he's
probably 19,
19-ish.
20-ish in Fallen Order. And that tends to be, I think that's like
Proper.
Cameron Moynihan's, like, that's roughly his age.
Mhm.
I think he might be a little older, so.
Yeah, he's like 19, 20, 21 around that age of Fallen
Oh,
Order. So
boy.
by the time you get to the sequels, that's gonna put him what in his like 60s, 70s.
Mhm.
Sequels, yeah, but if
Yeah.
we're just talking post Return of the Jedi.
But I mean, yeah, it's you can't make him. He's got to be doing something that's completely unrelated to the plot of the original to kind of like excuse like why he's not there. He's either gonna be dead or so far off that it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Which
Like-
that
like-
could potentially give up the plot of the second game too.
That's
Yeah.
true,
Give
too.
us other backstories.
Yeah, so they're probably not going to touch him. As
So
much
I
as
don't
would
think
love to
it'll
see him
be-
live action.
I'd like to see I'd like to see him represented somewhere. Maybe not necessarily the Mandalorian, but it would be cool to have him like live action play Cal Kestis. I think that'd be really cool.
Right. In a different show or something.
That's why I think it's either Ezra or a completely
Or a new character. Yeah, and I'd be fine with a new character too, honestly.
Oh, was it Chris or Josh that I was joking about Ferris Allen from those like
that was me.
young adult
Yeah,
books?
I don't know those. I don't know that lore.
Oh man.
You're young for that shit.
So, well, you said Ferris Allen, and then I said Joris Saboth, who
Oh man.
who was a character in the Thrawn trilogy, which is why I brought it up. And so his whole thing. So his name is spelled Joruus. His last name's Saboth, C''Boath, and he was like one of the antagonists, like next to Thrawn in the whole show, to where it's like you find out that he was a Jedi Master during the prequels who kind of fucked off and then lived for a while, and then later you find out that he's a clone, and the way you can tell that he's a clone of Jorah Saboth is because he's got 2 U's in his name instead of 1.
Yeah, isn't the
And
same
he
thing they
later,
did with Luke?
and then he
Yeah.
clones Luke and turns him into Luke Skywalker, Luuke.
And then he tries a third time.
That's the Sebastian
And he goes,
Stan
Luke.
played character.
He's
That's
playing
one of the
Luke.
expanded things I know.
And so I said that to Brett, and Brett's like, "There's absolutely no way." I was like, "No. Part of the plot right now is that they're cloning Force users. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Thrawn's here, so he's here. Put Jorah Saboth in Mandalorian."
Please give me Sebastian Stan as Luke.
Guys, hear me out. Grogu.
Oh God.
Oh, oh man, we're going down the rabbit hole.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
wow.
God! I think Brett made that same joke too, where he's like, "If Joris is in, I quit Star Wars. Like I'm not doing it."
Oh man.
I will lose my mind if they eventually like reference him at all. So
Fair enough. You can pull.
God, man. So there's what I'm saying is there's lots of could be anybody, you know. You know? Something else I wanted to touch on. It doesn't have to take very long. It's just I really like the Dark Troopers in this episode. They look exactly like they did in Dark Forces, and I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to them for consistently being so faithful to all of the stuff that they're pulling sources, like old expanded universe stuff that they're pulling from, especially the Dark Troopers, because that's such a weirdly like 90s Star Wars thing.
Right.
Because it's like, if you're to go back and look at like Star Wars content that was coming out in like the mid to late 90s, like pre-Episode 1, there's a particular vibe to it, if that makes any sense. And it doesn't, I don't think it honestly kind of gels really well with Star Wars as we know it, especially once you get past the prequels. Or really once you kind of like hit the prequels, is like a lot of that sort of like 90s era Star Wars stuff just kind of dropped off the face of the earth once Phantom Menace came out. And yeah, there's something about the Dark Troopers that is just so very 90s, which was a lot of it was like really dark and kind of edgy and really like always used in like these weird like darker pastel colors and if you look at like the power, y'all remember the Power of the Force action figures where everyone is like ripped out of their mind and huge. And so it's just, they're a product of that time, and I really really like that they adapted them so well to put them in modern Star Wars, and that's really really cool. I did also want to touch on that meme that you sent us, Jordan, to where Boba walks out and Fennec walks out, and then Din's looking at Fennec, and she goes, "You look like you've seen a ghost," and this meme just like hard cuts over to Din's face,
Him
which is
wearing
just
a
a helmet.
It was just captioned with a bunch of question marks. Here's the thing. I kind of felt like he was acting like they don't do the cartoony Spider-Man thing where like his eyes still move under it. But the head gesture very much
His body language
explained
sold
how
it.
he was feeling.
Yeah.
They do a great job with trying to elicit emotion from Din, you know, as he wears the helmet.
And I mean, and I know there's like 4 people that actually played Din. So whether that was actually oh no, I can't remember the actor's name that voices him.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, I don't know if that was actually Pedro or not. I know that Pedro was in the suit more the second season than he was in the first one, but I mean, whoever did it for that scene really sold it. Like I didn't even think about like not having a facial expression, just because the way that he moved like really sold the fact that where he was like, "Oh my god."
And here's the thing, I'm definitely not trashing on the body acting. It's just the line is very funny of you look like you've seen a ghost.
And then it's just
man.
It was this episode's of, "Oh, you're from Alderaan. Did you lose anyone?"
I don't think anything will be as bad as that.
So, what do you guys think about Fennec Shan making a return?
I'm fine with it.
Because in season 1, I didn't know if she was dead or alive. I could have seen it go either way. I'm glad that they brought Ming-Na Wen back, just because she's a phenomenal actor. So,
and I really liked her whole fight scene too. She did a great job with that. Like, it was very cool.
Yeah.
Cool, like
Mhm.
jump back snipe.
Oh yeah.
That was
Right.
sick.
Yeah.
That was a cool shot.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of got some Sam Wessel vibes too from
It's
Right.
it's a very similar suit.
outfit.
Like
yeah.
the helmet with the slit in the front of it and covers the
even
mouth.
like the little sniper kind of gun too.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
very similar costume, and I can almost guarantee that probably was on purpose.
Mhm.
Like that, there's no way that's
The
just a
whole-
coincidence,
the whole
right?
Django, Zam, Boba.
Boba Fennec, yeah. It's like there's no way that was an accident, right? Like
Mhm.
if it was, wow,
The whole opening up the robotics part.
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, that was like
Yeah.
I was like okay, like I mean it's just Star Wars, just
Mhm.
classic Star Wars. Like okay, she got shot in the gut. She has a mechanical stomach now, but like
Mhm.
How she eat?
how does she eat?
Boba
She
Fett.
can eat.
It's motor oil.
The question is how
Just
she pooped.
injections now.
Mm.
Boba Fett literally rearranged her guts. That's a a joke for y'all.
Oh.
Oh
I did not see this episode taking this turn.
no!
Okay, but like real talk.
Turn it off. I'm
Did
done
he-
with this show.
Yeah, yeah.
Did anyone
Real
feel a sexual tension between them?
Like a little bit.
Like a little bit. Where she was, I'm
Shots
indebted
around
to
the
him.
way.
I was like, ooh.
Hot. Yeah, like,
Right?
Did he
She's like,
perform
no.
this
What did she
surgery
say?
himself?
She goes, I now obey his every command. She said something like that. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I think she
Oh,
just
did
said like now I'm in his service or something like that.
yeah.
I feel like I should
Or
know.
did
I watched
he-
it like this morning, but.
Did he hire Dr. Mandible?
I'm done with
Okay.
the show.
Okay,
You
we
got it?
have to talk about something huge though, because I mentioned it at the beginning. Is
Mhm.
Django and Boba are like
Yeah, oh
real
yeah,
deal Mandos now?
that was one of the
From the code.
the last things that I wanted to get in there. So it's like for anybody that might not have like full background information on it. I mean, really, the idea of the so, ow. So really, the idea of Mandalorians and the way that the reason that Mandalorians look the way they do was because of Boba Fett. And as that kind of expanded, especially with a lot of the like Mandalorians are very prevalent in the like Old Republic era content because that's like when their civil war happens. That's when they go to war with the rest of the galaxy. It's the Mandalorians are very, very big there, and a lot of the artists that did that at the time essentially were like, well, what if the Mandalorians just look like Boba Fett? They all have the same armor and stuff because I mean, initially his armor was plasteel. It was not Beskar. That was actually that's a retcon. As we got closer and closer to like Boba and Jango appearing in the prequel trilogy, he got George Lucas was not like a huge like idea of the man or like a huge fan of the idea of the Mandalorians overall, especially not for the way that Jango and Boba kind of act. And so when we got to the Clone Wars, Lucas kind of put a thing in there to have one of the characters say it's like, oh yeah, Jango Fett not a real Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It caused this huge thing in the fandom where everyone's like, well, shit, like what the hell? Like he's got Mandalorian armor, it caused like this, like just multiple years. I mean, it's been basically going on until this episode aired. To where it's like, is Jango Fett and by extension Boba Fett, are they actually Mandalorians or not? And so that line of Boba being like, well, that armor was my father's and he gave it to me, and Did's like, no, the Beskar belongs to the Mandalorians. And then,
Did you take
then
the
later
creed?
yeah, did you take the creed? He's like, no, I owe allegiance to no one. And that's when Din's like, nope, can't have it, sorry.
Right.
And then later on he's like, look, my name's imprinted in this armor. And Din asked him, he was like, oh, well, your father was a foundling. And he goes, yeah, he even fought in the Mandalorian Civil War. And that's just like, yes, finally it's confirmed. Yes, by foundling, he's officially a Mandalorian, which is very, very cool.
So I didn't know that backstory of like Jango and Boba kind of were, kind of weren't thing. I had one of two interpretations. I thought one, it was going to touch again on how Din not unknowingly kind of grew up in like an extremist version of Mandalore culture. And, you don't have to take the creed or, like Boba couldn't have been an official Mandalorian, and that armor still belonged to him. Maybe it was like gifted, and he was like one of the rare occasions, or it was going to touch on Din's extremist upbringing, or a bit of both. But at the end, where it's like he proved, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, it did kind of touch on that extremist thing where he's still a Mandalorian, but he didn't take, the code.
Yeah, but they didn't flesh it out, is what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
Because going back to even like the original like art book from Empire Strikes Back, like all the way back in 1980, like the concept for Boba had his armor being from the Mandalore sector. So there's been this tale of if Boba's a Mandalorian or not, literally since the beginning.
Yeah, because it was always described like by Lucas as Boba owning Mandalorian armor, but never straight out saying that Boba Fett is a Mandalorian. If that makes any sense,
Yeah, and then even in the 90s, like there was kind of what I brought up before of like another guy took over like the name Boba Fett, and then of course episode 2 kind of resets that again and making him the son of Jango, and then current legends at that time, or I guess it's legends now, but the EU around Jango at that time had him as a Mandalorian, and then of course we go back again with the Clone Wars with Almec, who which looking back now it fits so well with that, because Almec is kind of this like elitist, like because he's from Mandalore. Jango was not. He's from Concord Dawn, and he's a foundling. So you could totally look into that whole like.
And Almec was an extremist on the opposite side, to where he was essentially like leading this group of pacifists, and there's a whole like plot line throughout the Clone Wars where like the people like similar to Almec like don't view the Death Watch as like true Mandalorians, or they view them as like extremist Mandalorians and want kind of nothing to do with them. Which is most likely at the very least a branch of where Jango Fett comes from, and so he's just kind of like riding off. He's like, no, he's not a real Mandalorian. He wasn't born here, or whatever. But this is a great way to retcon it, but not, I guess, is the best way. I think they found like the perfect way to fit it in with and still have it make sense to kind of everything that's going on. And it really was a genius move, and also just makes me really, really happy because that's also, I think that's the first like canon mention of the Mandalorian Civil Wars that we've got as well.
Right.
I don't remember if they bring him in Clone Wars or not.
They do, because when they're talking about how they're like a super peaceful people and stuff, they mentioned the Reformation from the Civil War.
Okay, I might need to go back and watch it again.
But
from the outside, that Clone Wars, a whole plot line was the Mandalorian Civil War.
There's kind of a civil war again in the Clone Wars.
Okay.
The different factions.
They have a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like
they're like the French.
It's like a coup almost. It's not like a full blown.
Yeah, and that's also because of Maul as well. So it was like a whole thing.
Very cool.
But also, I mean, it's like when I try to explain like the way that Mandalorian culture works to people that might not be super familiar with it, is like, well, like Death Watch and all of these other kind of things, like they're space Spartans. Like in the old expanded universe, like the whole Mandalorians thing was like they were all about strength and proving their strength to the universe. It wasn't that they really hated anybody else when they went to war. It's just like they would go to war with planets or species or whatever, specifically like just to prove how strong they are to each other. Like that was the whole idea, and like combat and war was like the basis of their culture.
Right.
I did also want to point out though too, just as like kind of like the old expanded universe like really trying to make Boba Fett Mandalorian, is that on Dantooine in Knights of the Old Republic there's a vendor that you can buy, I believe his name is Cassus Fett's armor from, and it's very much Mandalorian armor, because that's the first the first planet in the game where you actually fight Mandalorians as well. Like they're on that planet and they're wreaking havoc for the local townspeople at Dantooine, because they're Mandalorians and they're jerks.
So you're telling me there's a planet called Dantooine instead of Tatooine?
It's brought up in A New Hope, actually.
Yeah, it's actually a little.
Leia's the first one to drop it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's.
I must have missed it and assumed she said Tatooine.
Yeah, it's fair.
Every time I've watched it.
Yeah, it's in the scene like right before they blow up Alderaan, where I mean he's like, would you prefer a different target, a military target? Then name the system. And She's like, Dantooine, they're on Dantooine. He's like, cool, blow up Alderaan anyway.
Yeah, see, I probably said
Yeah.
Tatooine. Yeah, that's why they were on Tatooine earlier. Okay.
Yeah.
It's Dantooine. Okay.
Yeah. Dantooine, and then they put it in Knights of the Republic later, and they have a whole like Jedi temple there, and you go there, and it's cool. Very cool. You fight Kath hounds.
One thing I wanted to bring up about this episode: were y'all just as equally infuriated about dropping the jetpack as I was? And
dude.
like struggling to walk up rocks and shit like that. It's like, dude, just put it back.
It's like he took it off and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
I thought
the draw.
You drop our blasters. You drop your jetpack. Okay, Boba Fett. What's up?
Yeah, why
know,
the
right?
jetpack?
Yeah, right.
It's 100% so that he has to run up back and forth in between it and can't just fly. That's absolutely the reason.
They're like, listen, we reached our jetpack budget for the episode. We're gonna make him drop it.
It's like, yeah, we can't do it anymore. You got to run.
Um,
You have to run, Pedro Pascal. I'm sorry.
I will say there was a couple of things about this episode that I do want to, like, criticize. It wasn't a perfect episode, I think. I do think that it being short was to its detriment. I would have liked to see a lot more of this, because it was basically just one battle and then a post-credit scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I would have really liked to have seen it fleshed out, have a little bit more before the battle, a little bit more after the battle. In what I would have liked to see, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure. But I just feel like a lot of the stuff happened way too quickly.
I get that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'd
There's
rather
that.
take this.
Yeah. I'll go for it.
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
was gonna say I'd rather take this because this was kind of like the Bo-Katan episode where that was like 35 minutes and just action packed, and I'd rather take this format to build up into episode 7, which is gonna build basically like them
Into
getting the
episode
team
8.
back together,
Yeah.
and then into episode 8. I'd rather take like a 30-minute action packed episode than another side mission for sure.
Yeah, at least it's
Necessarily-
still like main plot moving forward.
Yeah, I don't necessarily
Right.
think it had to be side mission-y. I just think we could have seen some of his
Some more.
plan play out a little more, because it's clearly setting up a lot. Like, the episode did so much. I would have liked to see some parts have room to breathe. This is not even really criticism, but it's kind of like another, like, oh, come on, Din, how dumb are you? Like, with the jetpack thing is,
Yeah.
at what point does he realize, I don't need to protect the kid because he's covered in a force field that is bouncing me away?
After like 3
I was gonna
times.
say, he
Shoot
tries
it
3
back. He
times.
goes, no, but I have
Yeah.
to save it. It's like, dude, I bet you if you shot it, it would deflect right now.
Exactly. And then literally he's like, all right, well, I guess I'll buy you time. And then it just drops
Yeah.
in and it's like,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
We feel like
Oops.
they hear that. Hear that. It's like, stop doing
Or
that.
you just look over and see the giant blue beam.
Not
It's
there
not
anymore.
anymore.
Yeah. The only other I've got 2 very, very small criticisms about this as well, and they both involve stormtroopers. Which is the first one. It was really, really cool to see like stormtroopers actually be like semi-effective. But you have that one dude, the commander. He's got the orange shoulder pad and everything. Dude overacted his ass off, man. I mean, it
I feel
was like
a lot of
it was
them-
cartoonish, bro. To where he's like moving his whole thing and doing all that, and I was like, pull it back a little bit, pull it back.
I can't tell.
I was
if
like,
that
I don't know
a
why they
over-
couldn't just get the like the 501st guys to come in and do that part, because they were
Yeah.
really, really great in those episodes.
I
Right.
genuinely couldn't tell if that was like overacting or if it was over directing, where they were like,
probably a
we
little both.
have to show that the stormtroopers can occasionally be competent.
Mhm.
It's probably a little both, but it's just like there was something about that commander in particular that really bothered me. Just because of the way he moved, I was like, he
Right.
looks cartoonish. I was like, pull it
No, I
back a
feel
little
you.
bit.
I agree.
But then also, I really liked the scene where, in order to get rid of the turret, Finnick like pushes the boulder down the hill.
Yeah.
But then you also kind of get into the scene was like,
Just
why don't you
move.
just run to the right or the left? Why are
Right.
you
He tried
running
to
away
do it.
from something?
No, but he was so convinced that he could blast it.
Not even
away.
that. I'm just talking about the 2
Yeah.
dudes that were running from the thing that it runs over before it hits the turret.
Oh, the
Where they're-
Prometheus school of
Yeah,
running
yeah.
away
I was
from
about to say
things.
they're running in the straight
Right.
line. Just go this way.
Yeah.
like an alligator.
We were tripped over a mountain or a rock.
Mhm. That
Like the dude,
And then-
like trying to blow it up with the turret. That doesn't bother me actually. I've seen people complain.
Yeah.
It's like, why did he stay there? I was like, well, I mean, you could see him like chipping it off with the turret. Like that means
Right.
whatever.
Nah,
That doesn't bother me.
almost
It's
worked.
just the other
Almost
2 dudes. Yeah, the Prometheus school of running that bothered me.
in terms of overreacting, I feel like Boba Fett's facial expressions when fighting those dudes were just over the top.
He
when
doesn't
he's
get a
Yeah, but
chance
I
to
love
show
him,
his
though.
face often.
Yeah.
I
So-
guess that's forgivable.
Going off of that, like, what do you guys think about Robert Rodriguez as like the director for this episode in terms of the action, kind of the acting? You guys,
I have a really dumb question, and I really don't mean this to be a meme. This is the same Robert Rodriguez that like did Star Wars and Shark Boy and Lava Girl we're talking about.
Most importantly, Spy Kids, but also
Yeah,
Shark
Spy
Boy and
Kids.
Lava Girl.
I said Spy Kids,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Shark Boy
You
and Lava
said-
Girl is what you
you
said.
said Shark Boy, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I
Spy
said
Kids.
Spy Kids before that. Okay.
No,
Yeah, it's the same
I
Robert
kinda
Rodriguez.
Yeah,
remember
it's the same Robert Rodriguez. Yeah.
Okay, making sure.
He's done a bunch of different action movies, like with Machete and
Didn't
things
some
like
of
that.
the
I
direction
thought the
into that
action looked
name
pretty
sounds
good.
familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
like,
directing was good.
we mentioned it at the top, yeah, with
But-
Boba with the gaffy stick, and then even when he got his armor back was like
Which
really-
again, he's so aggressive. It's incredible. Like it was wild,
He's
dude.
able.
Oh, yeah, I
They're,
saw
um,
memes on Twitter saying that like, oh, we finally got to see why Boba Fett has been cool for the last 40 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. I cried.
1000%.
I'm not joking.
Mhm.
I teared up. That's not a joke. I really did. I was like, oh my god, it's finally happening. It's finally happening. Look how cool he is.
Because it also boosts Django's stock too.
I
just
don't give a
like-
fuck about
Oh,
Jango Fett, dude. Jango Fett
You want-
sucks.
But
If
he
you
has
want
better
it
armor.
He doesn't.
It's
He doesn't
cooler,
though.
sleeker.
boosted, you play Jedi Star Wars Bounty Hunter or whatever the fuck on PS2, on PS4.
I'm
You
gonna.
play that
I'm
if you
gonna.
want
I'm gonna give you
Jango's
another.
stock.
I'm gonna give you another hot take though. That game is mediocre.
I tried to go back to it on PS4.
There's no way it
definitely did
holds
not
up,
hold up.
right? Yeah.
No.
It's I mean, it's one of those things where it just didn't age well. At the time, it was a
Mhm.
pretty competent, good game, but
Mhm.
there's
This
certain things that just don't age well.
This episode, it's like after I finished it, I went and booted up Battlefront 2, and
Mhm.
I did like an AI match, and I was just like, I just want to play as Boba Fett for a minute. I was
enough.
like, just let me play as Boba Fett. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, finally. They need to. They're not doing any more updates for Battlefront. I was like, I need Fat Boba in Battlefront.
Lego
That's
Star
awesome.
Wars,
Skin unlocked now.
Lego Star Wars next year.
Yeah, hopefully.
I would really like to see just like Mandalorian as a whole, like appear in more video games that aren't Fortnite. You know, I think that would be cool.
Mhm.
Let's get a Mando
Yeah.
game. Give us, I mean, just make Star Wars Bounty Hunter, but with Boba or Din. Like, I think that'd be really cool.
Have you been seeing those Jedi Fallen Order mods with Mando and
Yeah.
the Darksaber? Those
Uh-huh.
mods look sick.
Yeah.
Those mods look sick. That makes me want to
Those
like
mods.
play Jedi Fallen Order on PC, and I
just
don't
installed.
play
I
games
just
on
installed
PC.
Fallen Order, and I'm gonna plug my own shit here for a second. But I'm starting Fallen Order, at time of recording tomorrow, December 7th, on Twitch.tv/RoboPack92. I'm doing a run on Grandmaster difficulty. Let's go.
Ooh.
Get the
Yeah,
get the
baby.
Mando
I'm
mod with
struggling
the
on Jedi
Darksaber.
Knight. I'm playing through it for the first time. I think we've mentioned that a few times on the show. I'm struggling on Jedi Knight.
It's a difficult game.
Like it is, and I think you said last episode. I don't know if this was on camera behind the scenes, where you were just like, "Oh yeah, it's very Souls-like." I was like, "Is this what a fucking Souls game is like?"
Not even close.
This is baby's.
Easier.
This is baby's first Souls
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, it's like it's that format, but babied down. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
if Souls games are this format but harder, like fuck that shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. I think that just about touches everything that I wanted to get through. Outside of, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Two more things. we'll get
It
through
might
them
be a
quick
big
though.
thing, but
We'll get through it quick though. I loved seeing the kid just like murk some stormtroopers on the ship.
that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
No, I
And he's
wanted
just
to touch
tossing
on
these dudes
that.
around.
I was scared, man.
So when he was, doing his thing and swinging them back and forth, one of them kept grabbing his throat.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So is the child, Grogu, Baby Yoda, what have you, using Force choke?
It's not the first time we've seen him choke somebody. He chokes.
That's true.
He chokes
Cara
Cara
Dune,
Dune.
season
Yeah.
one.
So
Yeah.
so now second question is, do you think because he's hasn't been trained and mentally is still kind of more like a baby, even though he's like 50,
Mhm.
he's accidentally falling into the dark side?
It's
Is that like going to be a plot
It's
line?
a
you think?
question, but I mean, it's also one of those things where it's like, how well does a kid like know like between the dark side and light side kind of thing. It's like if you were to ask
Yeah.
like a toddler about morality, you know,
Yeah.
like
Right.
What I'm saying
I think Grogu's using the Force kind of on instinct. He's like, these are bad people. I'm gonna fuck up these bad people.
But that's what I'm saying is like, because I don't know as much Star Wars lore.
Yeah.
Is it a thing where if a child uses the dark side or gives into it, is that more forgivable or accepted versus, or is that just too much like a, oh no, like that's because I mean they use that excuse against Anakin all the time.
You know, you don't really see it all that much. You have, you kind of have that one thing with like Barriss Offee in Clone Wars, but she was still old enough to know what she was doing. Like,
because the best comparison I can make is like in Harry Potter, they accept that children, before they know they're wizard, are going to use magic subconsciously, and that it's not like a crime to do so. So like I'm wondering if there's a comparison there, but I don't know, I'm just wondering, it might be interesting to see if he's like a kid that's unknowingly giving into the dark side.
I think two things. I think one, kind of what you just talked about, Jordan, is since he's a child technically still, like just, you know, in real life too, usually children are more moldable with how you can teach them, you know, social skills, behavior, you know,
True.
character, like that.
Gives into their emotions.
And then also, yeah, we mentioned this like 2 or 3 episodes ago, but just because of the environment Grogu's in right now with Din, is like he's just subconsciously like absorbing all this like violent behavior and just not, you know, the best role model stuff. So yeah, I think definitely that
I think it was
could
the
play.
first episode, right, where they're like, "You want to do this in front of the kid?" He's like, "I've seen worse."
Yeah, I think season 3 that'll be a huge plot line with. I'm betting season 3 will be Grogu, Din, and some Jedi hanging around.
Is there a question mark?
Yeah, and like
Is
is Baby Yoda Grogu like just already set on like a dark path because of what he's been exposed to?
That'd be interesting. And I think I think there's a few ways that could go. I'm curious to if so the last thing I want to touch on is, of course, we're getting Bill Burr back next episode, which is cool. His character's
Baker
name,
Mayfield, baby.
Yeah, that was it. Baker Mayfield. I could not remember
Space Boston.
his character's name.
The
I
guy
was just
from-
like, yeah. It's
There
from
has to be a
Space-
whole
Space
planet that's
Boston.
Boston because Bill Burr doesn't change his accent, so therefore Space Boston.
And there were a couple things on Baker that I wanted to touch. One is I saw like a bunch of people just kind of talking about. They were like, "Why is he coming back? How does that relate to the story at all?" And it's kind of a blink and you miss it sort of thing. But they mentioned both in the episode that he was in last season, and Din brings it up again this episode. But I mean, he's an ex-Imperial sniper, and they're going after the Empire, and so I think Din realized like that's probably his best way to kind of figure out how the Empire works and be able to go in
and trap the ship. Yeah.
So I just kind of want to touch on that. And 2, I like Bill Burr. I'm excited that he's back. I'm down with it, man. I like his shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like episode 7 is definitely going to be assembling like the ultimate team to just go fuck up Moff Gideon, and I love that. I want Fish Lady back. I want Ahsoka back. I want Bo-Katan.
Frog Lady's kid.
Is Ahsoka coming back, or is she just listed for one episode?
I don't think it's so.
I don't think Ahsoka's coming back.
Yeah.
A boy can hope. A boy can only hope.
I would love Ahsoka to be back. I think we're probably going to see Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians come back.
I can see that, yeah.
And it's if I'm honest, I just want to see more Sasha Banks.
Yeah.
Well, I think
like-
Sasha Banks was reported not to show up anymore.
Oh,
So
really?
if
That's a
it's-
shame.
If it's just Bo-Katan, it'll just be Bo-Katan.
It's just Bo-Katan.
If she comes back, yeah.
That's fine.
Or it'll be
That's
like
all we
3 of
need.
them, but the other 2 won't take their helmets off, and you just assume it's Sasha Banks.
Like
That works. That works.
Yeah, they could do that. That's fine. But I think we're probably gonna give Bo-Katan back because her whole thing right now is that she's going after the dark saber, which Moff Gideon
And
has.
Gideon.
Yeah.
Right.
Another thought I was just kind of thinking of: will they get the child or Grogu back, or will that be like the objective of season 3?
That
Oh,
would be
man.
interesting if they fail to get him.
Do they have the guts to do that for a whole year, where he's?
Oof.
Well, that
safe.
was. So I've had a similar thought recently, and I think this bounces off it pretty well, Ali. Where it's like what happens when we get to the point where Grogu like meets it's like they either get him back to his species or he goes off with the Jedi. It's like,
Yeah.
what does the Mandalorian as a show look like without the child?
Just a bounty hunter show.
Yeah.
Guys,
Like,
what are they gonna do with the
cool.
merchandising, the
Yeah.
plushies, the memes? Like,
Which that's my thing is, do they have the guts to take
To
the
do
child out of it for like, you know? I mean, I feel like it would be. I feel like if at the end of the season, like they try to rescue Grogu and they fail, and then we have to wait until next season, and you're like, are they willing to go a whole year without kind of knowing? I mean, it's like we went a whole year after we went 2 years after seeing Luke Skywalker for the first time in 30 years, and then had to wait 2 years for him to even say a line.
I get that. Yeah, I feel like we will get the child back, but we'll like lose some people in the process. We might like lose the blue guy from the siege in the season premiere. If he goes down, I'm chucking Star Wars out of here.
Where do you keep pulling these characters?
I can't believe you, even as a joke, brought up the Mythrol.
The Mythrol, yes.
Dying
He's
as
part
like
of
a
the team.
significant, as
part
a
of the
significant
team.
loss.
I
Dog
thought that
Mythrol.
because we were just talking about Bill Burr's character. Because I thought he was talking about the blue guy that they rescued in the Bill Burr episode. I was like, oh, like the fucking like weird twin cess motherfucker that's like trailer trash.
No, that guy's irrelevant.
the
Mythrol is where it's
The
at.
Twi'lek, yeah, I forgot about Mythrol, man. Ugh.
Because they all agree that dude was
But they-
fucking his sister, right?
No, he got
Yeah.
No, he's
killed.
dead.
Yeah, they blew up the space.
Okay, but I said was like he was fucking
Oh,
his
yeah, yeah.
sister.
Probably.
Yeah.
The actress that played Nymphadora Tonks.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
Hey, there's that connection.
So I guess their plan is the
Nailed it.
Alabama of the galaxy.
All right, well, on that unsettling note, I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode of This is the Waypoint, boys. Thank you, as always, for coming in and discussing Mandalorian with me. I mean, really, this is just kind of an excuse for me to talk about Expanded Universe for an hour a week. But, I mean, you know, I think the show is I would probably so far rank season 2 over season 1. I've been really enjoying. Like,
Yeah.
it's been so consistently good this season that it's like I think they're really killing it. They found their groove. They're settling in. I love being able to come in and talk with you boys. Josh, where can we find you, man?
Everywhere at some other Josh, and that's about it.
That's about it. That's
That's about it.
That's all you need. Al,
That's
what
all
about
you
you,
need.
man?
You can find me anywhere at Albob875. Hoping to get into some Cyberpunk this week on Twitch.
Oh baby.
Oh yeah, boy, you playing release day?
Yeah, because it was at 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, I think is releasing. So I'm probably gonna like start, or gonna try to start before, and then try to hit play right as that 7 p.m. hits.
Heck yeah, dude. So definitely check that out. Twitch.tv/Albob875 for that hot Cyberpunk action. Jordan, man, where can we find you?
Hopefully my PC won't die.
You can find me at Jordan_Deeb and at Twitch at twitch.tv/OrphanGamers. I'm hoping to get back into streaming this week once my paper is done and I'm done for the semester.
Heck yeah.
I think I'm going to start with some Tetris 99 and see what games I do afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love Tetris 99. I think that's
Only
like
one
behind.
twice, but I have like 300 hours in it.
I have two wins, but yeah, I was about to say it's like behind Smash Brothers. That's my most played game on Switch.
It's those 15-minute like intervals, and then you put it down, and then you
Yeah, it's off. I've had it off and on like forever since the release. Brett, where can we find you, big homie?
You can find me streaming on twitch.tv/JimTasty pretty much every day, you know, playing Warzone, Wii U games, you know, the latest and greatest.
And,
Hey,
this
we do have,
guy
like, a few
wants
good
to get
games.
to 1,000.
I was about to say, be like, hey, go follow Jim Tasty on Twitch because he's trying to hit 1,000 followers before the end of December. But you know what? Maybe don't. Just for that
Yeah, he's
comment.
playing PU.
We're
Yeah,
small but
exactly.
mighty, the Wii U tribe.
there's dozens of us.
Trash, bro.
A
Trash.
dozen.
Follow the
I've never
creed.
even owned a Wii U. I just think a decent game.
Yeah,
does
because
the
you
best
didn't
with
need it. And I, of course, I'm Chris, aka RumblePack92. I stream 3 to 5 times a week on twitch.tv/RumblePack92. You can find me on Twitter at the same name, and where I do more shouting about Star Wars and video games. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
them.
This is The Waypoint.
This is the way.
This is the waypoint. Guns are my religion.